Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome. It's Las Vegas. It's the entertainment capital of the world. It is Memorial Day weekend. This is Christian Nick here for CY Interview here in Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world. I hope you're having a great weekend. We are here to talk about everything currently going on in the entertainment capital of the world in Las Vegas. And thank you so much for being here. Off the top, just a little bit of news here at CY Interview for those of you who watch our ongoing YouTube channel. We now have a Las Vegas playlist of many of the things we've covered in Las Vegas over the last year, different events, different topics, potential possibility. Maybe you want to move here to Las Vegas, some of the things you haven't seen, all of the sports, entertainment, and beyond. Please go over and look at our Las Vegas list, and you'll be able to put that on a loop and get a couple of hours, and you'll probably learn some things about the entertainment capital of the world that you were not aware of yet. So thank you so much for coming over and spending some time with us as well. I want to talk about, we're going to go into some current event topics. And of course, if there's any questions this evening, please let us know. We are here for you here in the entertainment capital of the world. So just to begin, tonight we're going to talk about the American Music Awards, which are taking place tomorrow here in Las Vegas in the entertainment capital of the world. Of course, it's going to be at the Fountainblue. It's going to be hosted by Jennifer Lopez, and you'll be able to see it on CBS. All of the big names in music are nominated, from Taylor Swift to Ariana Grande to Billie Eilish, among others. So it's going to be another evening in Las Vegas where we're going to have another award show. As you know, a couple of years ago, we had the Grammy Awards here in the entertainment capital of the world. We have the Billboard Music Awards on an ongoing basis. We get a lot of things like the Soul Train Music Awards in town. So the reality, what it comes down to, I always like to talk about how Las Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world. I love to talk about how we get everything happens here. And so with that being said, just another feather in our cap, the American Music Awards are coming to Las Vegas tomorrow night. So you'll be able to see them on CBS, Paramount Plus, and all those different platforms. But if you have any questions this evening about Las Vegas and the entertainment capital of the world, please let me know. I'll be keeping my eyes out in the browser, and we'll be happy to assist with that. So thank you so much for joining us. This is, again, CY Interview here in Las Vegas. So, speaking about award shows, will we get the Academy Awards soon in the near future? I think that could be possible one day. There's a bunch of potential Hollywood studios, movie studios, TV studios, film studios moving here to the entertainment capital of the world. So, obviously Mark Wahlberg has some involvement in that, and it'll be very interesting to see, could that even happen one day? I think it's possible. Everything is just coming here. So now to the next order of business, which has been one of the big events over the last week here in the entertainment capital, the discussion of WrestleMania returning to Las Vegas. For a second year in a row, we have discussed here in Las Vegas on this channel about that happening. We spoke about it before it was even a possibility back in April, when they announced that New Orleans was going to host WrestleMania next year. But an announcement this past week said, nope, not going to happen. They're changing the calendar. They're going to get another event. So then that opened the door again. Dave Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer newsletter, who I have spoken with many years ago on CY Interview, before CY Interview, has talked about how he believes it's pretty much like 95%, I believe. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I think it's more likely done than not. There's this belief in the entertainment capital of the world that they want to have Nice to See You Too, Jam to Bread. The hope is that more than anything else is that what they're hoping is that we are going to continue to host major events every year. We're going to get the College Football National Championship at one point. We're obviously going to get, as you know, the Super Bowl again one day. We had that last year, of course, with the Chiefs and the 49ers. And it's just a really fun time in the entertainment capital world. Of course, we get Formula One racing now every year. I know that the Final Four of the NCAA tournament will be at Allegiant Stadium one day, but they want major events in the entertainment capital world. So, the WrestleMania in Las Vegas was the most profitable revenue-generating event in World Wrestling Entertainment history. That was here on April 19th and April 20th. So what I would say that is that what the benefit of that is also is that, for the international professional wrestling fans, a lot of them, of course, are in the United Kingdom and beyond. in Europe and Canada, of course, that it's an easy fly-in and there's a lot of things to do here. So you're not just going to a city where you're doing a couple of things. You can go to shows and shopping and some of the finest restaurants in the United States of America, among other things, of course, the spas and all those things. So the point is, go see the Grand Canyon, one of the greatest landmarks of the Hoover Dam. So, what I say to the professional wrestling fans, and of course, then we get all those side events, get all those professional wrestling independent shows, you get all of those conventions like WrestleCon that we went to this year. You get all those events and you get all these people in town, and it just was an unbelievable, we went down, of course, to see pro wrestling historian author Keith Elliott Greenberg down at the DDT bar, which is a pro wrestling theme bar down near the El Cortez on Fremont Street. And the reality of what it comes down to at the end of the day is that it's just kind of like, we're built for this, as I always like to say. We are absolutely built for this. Hotels, plenty of them for all the people who could ever want to come to an event, ballrooms for every professional wrestling event and every meet and greet situation. The reality of what it comes down to at the end of the day is, and then finally, of course, the ballrooms, for all the conventions themselves. And of course, whether the WWE is holding their own fan convention, WWE World, WrestleCon, or anything else in between. And all of the resorts, from the Palms to Circa Las Vegas, were able to, partake in WrestleMania this year. And I think it was a very, interesting time for them. This is Christian here, C1 Review. We're talking Las Vegas current events tonight. If you have any questions for me, please put them in the chat. We're currently talking about how WrestleMania is on the way to returning to Las Vegas, most likely next year. The reality of what it comes down to at the end of the day is that it's more likely than not. I think it's going to be incredibly exciting. And I think the World Wrestling Entertainment, its plans, according to what we've been reading this week, is to host many of the major events in ongoing cities on an ongoing basis, have more permanent locations for different events. Think of it like, in tennis, every year you have the tournament schedule and you have Wimbledon, the French Open, the Australian Open, the US Open. They're in the same place every year, and they're, around the same time in the calendar year. And now World Wrestling Entertainment wants to do that with some of their major pay-per-view events by putting them in cities on an ongoing basis. And WrestleMania coming to Las Vegas looks like one of those things that's going to happen again. I really hope it does again. I think the pro wrestling community is growing here. For a long time, and it's upcoming in a couple of months, we've had the ongoing Cauliflower Alley Club, where it celebrates it's like a Hall of Fame ceremony that usually takes place at the Plaza Hotel and Casino, where we celebrate many of pro wrestling greats. But now it's so great that we're having a whole week of involvement of seeing professional wrestling here in Las Vegas. WrestleMania coming to Las Vegas again next year. I think more likely than not, we'll have to wait and see what happens. The official announcement hasn't happened yet, but I think we're going to get that quite soon. I know there were some people within the pro wrestling community who were kind of upset that they would change this from one city to another, but at least gratefully, it's early enough, we're 11 months out, that you can make different plans and schedule accordingly. So again, topics we've discussed this evening. The American Music Awards are taking place tomorrow night at the Fontainebleau here in Las Vegas, at the north end of the Las Vegas Strip. You can watch that on CBS, Paramount Plus. And now we have just finished talking about WrestleMania returning to Las Vegas next year. I expect it to be more likely than not at this point, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's move on. I wanted to talk about, which we didn't talk about really up top, is what I love about Memorial Day weekend here in Las Vegas is that, this is like the beginning of summer in the entertainment capital of the world. To me, it's not officially summer yet, as I said in my earlier video tonight, but I love the fact that, we're at a point where the weather is warm, the con is booming, people are outside, the pools are getting busy, the day clubs are getting busy, everywhere's just busy. And it's just a really wonderful time to be in the entertainment capital of the world, truthfully. And I just hope that more than anything else, that people come here this summer. We love you. We need you. And you get to experience so many of the great things that are here in the entertainment capital of the world. And of course, again, as I mentioned up front, go back and look at our playlist our playlist, our new playlist, Las Vegas playlist, and you'll learn about some of the shows, some of the events, some of the attractions, and some of the other things that are going on here in the entertainment capital of the world right now ongoing, and take a look at that. Let's move along. Recently, well, the last week or two, we had the Las Vegas Raiders schedule release, and I want to just kind of go over that in review. We're going to talk about the home schedule tonight. Maybe we'll talk about the road schedule in a later video. But what I want to talk to you about tonight is the following. Week 2, they're going to play the Chargers. Always a tough AFC West game. Toss-up in my opinion. It's going to be really interesting to see again the Pete Carroll head coach, Geno Smith quarterback dynamic, because of course they were in Seattle together a couple of years ago and they had some playoff success. And it's kind of like, can you go from one organization to another organization? And if you're able to do that, then you'll be able to potentially take the Raiders, the silver and black, back to the playoffs for the first time. And I believe, has it been 5 years now? I think 5 years, 4 years. The reality of what it comes down to the last time, of course, the Raiders were in the playoffs when they lost on the road. When Derek Carr was the quarterback to the Cincinnati Bengals, I think the final score of that AFC wildcard game was 23-16. And who did they beat in that Week 18 game? The Los Angeles Chargers, who they're playing in Week 2. Week 4, they're going to face Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. Another toss-up game, in my opinion. Tennessee Titans, Week 6, a chance to win a game, build some confidence. Week 9 against the Jacksonville Jaguars and second-round pick Travis Hunter, who's in the news for marrying his long-term girlfriend this weekend, Liana. Another chance to build some confidence. Dallas Cowboys, Week 11. That will be probably the most expensive ticket of the Las Vegas Raiders home game schedule. Obviously, it's the Cowboys. Cleveland Browns are Week 12, and a lot of people are making a big deal about this game, not because of who's going to be the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns facing the Las Vegas Raiders, but the fact that that is Formula One racing weekend as well. And my response is that I don't know why people are making a big deal about this, and I'll tell you why. If Formula One racing is taking place on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, then the NFL game is on Sunday. Yes, there'll be a lot of traffic. There'll be some congestion near the Las Vegas Strip, and you'll need to plan your transportation accordingly. But honestly, to tell you the truth, what is the big deal that there's a football game on the same weekend as Formula One racing, Week 12, when the Raiders host the Cleveland Browns? I really don't understand why people are making a big deal about this. Just plan your travel accordingly. If you're going to the NFL game, leave earlier. I don't think that that's going to, the Formula One racing for the night before is going to really impact much what is going on with that. So I would say to you again, I don't see what the big deal is. Week 14 at home against the Denver Broncos. Usual AFC West game, another potential possibility for a win. New York Giants, Week 17, another chance for a win. Giants, one of the worst teams in the NFL last year. We know that. And then Week 18 at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, as I've already talked about with this game, playing with the Kansas City Chiefs, the question is that will that game matter for the Chiefs in the playoff scenario? And if it doesn't, will it be a playoff scenario potential possibility for the Raiders? Now, if the Chiefs obviously have already wrapped up, if they make the playoffs, which we expect them to, because they are the Chiefs, if they're able to make it, if they already have won the division or they've wrapped up a playoff spot, the reality of that situation is that what kind of scenario will the Raiders end up getting? So we'll have to wait and see on that. And the reality of what it comes down to is that what I'd say or anything else is just we'll see what happens with that. But that's going to be a tough game week 18. So we'll see what happens. If the Chiefs rest their starters, it won't be. So let's go down a couple lists of questions I've been receiving. I think that Las Vegas is growing into becoming a college football town because of how UNLV has been pretty good the last couple of years. I mean, they've been in a couple bowl games. The crowds at Allegiant Stadium for the UNLV football games are growing. I mean, had UNLV won a couple of games this year, they would have been in the college football playoff. I don't know if I think Las Vegas is a slowly growing college football town, but if there was some, success in the college football playoff, I think that's very possible. I absolutely believe, going back to WrestleMania, that Las Vegas is the best place. WrestleMania Las Vegas is the best place for WrestleMania for the obvious reasons of the following. And we'll get back into this again. We're already set up with the hotels and the convention centers, and there's plenty of places to have, other promotions who come in and they piggyback off of WrestleMania and host their professional wrestling events. I mean, there's just no better town, no bigger town, great airport. There were so many great attractions during that month in the entertainment capital of the world. You know, I think that the growth of Las Vegas's sports is the town itself. As focusing on that question, is that more than anything else, I don't think any town has grown faster. I mean, look at October of 2017. That was when the Las Vegas Golden Knights played their first hockey game, right? And so since then, now we have, of course, the Las Vegas Aces have won 2 WNBA championships. We have the Raiders here. We have Formula One racing. We're hosting the biggest sporting events in the world. The College Football National Championship is going to be here soon. I know the Final Four will be here soon. It'll be only a matter of time till we get NBA. The Athletics, hopefully, maybe they'll be here in 3 or 4 years. So those are the things that you have to think about. But think about 8 years. Think about, has there ever been another city in the United States of America that expanded professional sports as quickly as Las Vegas did in the entertainment capital of the world? So there is no denying that, as far as that goes and is concerned. Another question is Las Vegas the most event-rich city in the world? Well, if it already hasn't become that, it is it now, I think. We could just go down the list. WrestleMania last month, American Music Awards tomorrow night. There's always something happening in Las Vegas, in the entertainment capital of the world. And I think it'll be very interesting to see where things continue to go. The convention circuit is quite wonderful, and it'll be fun in that regard. So here's what I want to go into right now. We just did a video the other day, and I just kind of want to recap this, discussing Las Vegas itself in the following way. What events and what places have you never gone to in the entertainment capital of the world? Or maybe you don't know about is the best way to explain it. And so, the reality of what it comes down to is that it's like I mentioned, the Adventure Dome, the Circus Circus, a great theme park, a great place to enjoy rides and games, and a family place, right? It's kind of hard sometimes because a lot of things in Vegas are 21 and up, so it's hard to find places to take the family to sometimes. So there's that. That's one. Then number two, we also discussed Skyfall Lounge, Mandalay Bay, near Mandalay Bay, right there at the W Las Vegas, 60 floors up, 60 plus floors up. I think the 64th floor. See the greatest view of the Las Vegas Strip potentially from the south to the north. And then, of course, we talked about the Waldorf Astoria Spa, of course, another spa in Las Vegas. I recently went to Canyon Ranch, Las Vegas, at the Venetian Las Vegas Hotel and Casino on the Las Vegas Strip. And the spas are underrated in Las Vegas. The wellness centers are underrated in Las Vegas, and there are a ton of them. And you should absolutely consider getting a massage and looking at the spas when you're in town, at your resort, adjacent resorts, whatever it might be. So those are some things to focus on as well. I want to give some vacation tips now because, we're obviously getting towards the official summer, even though I believe that this is the kickoff to summer. I remember May 2015 when I came here in May, and we saw Olivia Newton-John in concert during her residency at the Flamingo Las Vegas Hotel and Casino. And in the recorded recap, I'll put the link to that interview. It's just a wonderful time. I love this time of year. I feel like this is, the beginning of the fun time in Las Vegas, where the weather is warm and it's sunny outside, and it's just really, really, really a nice experience in that regard. Speaking about other sports in Las Vegas that we haven't touched on, NASCAR, we have, 1 or 2 races a year at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and I'd love to see more NASCAR within the entertainment capital world. I think that would be nice. Focusing on that. Formula One racing, of course, has gotten a lot of the attention over the last couple of years because they do the race on the Las Vegas Strip. But that's what we're basically, that's what it is. I think that in my comment tonight where I said, focusing on WrestleMania being here in Las Vegas and that we're built for this. We are. We just are. Any event, we're ready to go. Any national catastrophe that could happen that could delay an event or interrupt an event, just bring it to Las Vegas. We'll be ready to go. We don't get natural disasters, major events, or anything like that to interfere with that. That's the great thing about living here. So let's talk about a couple of the benefits. A lot of you watch these videos on YouTube and you're wondering about, like, what is it like to visit? What is it like to live here? What is it like to move here? And I say this to you, one of the couple of the benefits of living in Las Vegas: one, there are no hurricanes. Two, there are no tornadoes. I think in August of 2018, I suffered for about a couple of seconds an aftershock of an earthquake. I think it was like for a couple of seconds. But other than that, nothing. I mean, there are windstorms outside. Sometimes the wind can blow very hard. It can blow some tree branches down, stuff like that. But that's it. I mean, we get rain. What do we get rain? 15, 20 days of the year. Nice to have a little more rain, of course. But the reality of what it comes down to is there are no hurricanes and there are no tornadoes, and most of the snow, of course, goes up on Mount Charleston and is not down here in the Las Vegas Valley. It's all the Las Vegas Valley, but here now near the Las Vegas Strip down here into town, where I live, there isn't. There was one day, I believe, again, I want to say it was February of 2019. I think it was February of 2019 where there was literally snow outside. There was snow outside my house. And it was the first time, because I'm originally from Florida, that I had ever seen snow in Las Vegas. So we don't get those kind of major issues here. And so that's what I focus on is, one of the positives. Of course, when we look at tennis, also, one of the greats that lives here who just actually competed in a pickleball exhibition matches, the great Andre Agassi. You, of course, will remember tennis great Andre Agassi for his feud, mostly with Pete Sampras. They had some great matches, of course, at the majors over the years in the 90s. If you remember Andre Agassi versus Pete Sampras, US Open, Wimbledon, whatever it might be. But those guys, I mean, I remember the 90s sports scene like anything else. You go back and you think about in the NBA, you think about, Michael Jordan at that time and Patrick Ewing and the such in the NBA. And if you go over to the tennis, you think about Andre Agassi, and Pete Sampras. And then, of course, on the women's side, you had people like Martina Hingis and Steffi Graf. And, of course, Steffi Graf and Andre Agassi are married, among others. So just an interesting time. And, we have something for everybody, as I always like to say, in the entertainment capital world. We used to never have something for everybody in the world of sports. But now we do have something for everybody in the world of sports besides watching the games at the Las Vegas resorts themselves, right? So, and of course there are, I believe, in Las Vegas, do we have the most golf courses in the United States of America? I'd have to look that up, but we're up there. Tons of golf courses, something other people don't focus on. Of course, there's the great golf course at the Wynn Las Vegas, the closest one to the Las Vegas Strip. And of course, right near there, near the Westgate, is also the famous Las Vegas Country Club, where Dean Martin of the Rat Pack back in the day used to play golf. So now we're going to focus on a couple of other things before we wrap up. I always like to tell people, yeah, you're here in the entertainment capital of the world. You go to the Fremont Street Experience. That's great. You go to the Las Vegas Strip. Phenomenal. Go see the Bellagio fountains. Phenomenal. All this stuff is absolutely phenomenal in one way or another. And it's absolutely worth seeing. It's absolutely worth exploring. But if you're not going to the great outdoors while you're here in Las Vegas, you're missing out. Red Rock Canyon, getting on a bus to go to the Grand Canyon, or getting on a bus to go see Zion National Park in Utah. These are some great nearby land monuments. And of course, the Hoover Dam. It's usually incorporated in the Grand Canyon trip if you end up going on one of those bus trips. I'd say more than anything else is that it's just kind of like, you got to get to the great outdoors. One day when you're in Las Vegas, don't spend your whole vacation. You could. These resorts are beautiful. A lot of people talk about how they don't even go to any other Las Vegas resorts. They fly in to Harry Reid International Airport. They stay at one resort, and more than anything else, after staying at one resort, they don't go anywhere else. I mean, I don't understand how that's possible, but that's a lot of people, and every different strokes for different folks. But I'm going to tell you more than anything else is that you got to get around when you're here. And I always tell you this, and I'm going to say this again. If you're worried about a budget or you're worried about prices when you're coming here in Las Vegas, make a plan. Take a look at those different restaurants, different events, different attractions, and things like that. You know, obviously with the World Wrestling Entertainment merging, with the UFC and having this relationship, it was really interesting to me. I didn't understand why, but maybe it's because pro wrestling fans are not MMA fans. When we were at WrestleMania night 1, Dana White got a bunch of boos, and I didn't understand that. The UFC headquarters are here. The WWE should absolutely, at the very least, build an office here. Maybe they won't keep their headquarters from Stamford, Connecticut, because they've got so many ties to the Northeast. And, the birth of the WWE, a lot of the major events, of course, happened in Madison Square Garden, and that part of the country for a long time. So they're a Northeastern company. But could you imagine if they just picked up the pieces and moved here? Obviously, there's plenty of tax incentives, and everyone else is moving here. So, it would really be interesting to see. Could the World Wrestling Entertainment move their headquarters to Las Vegas? That's a really great question. Couple of last things I want to get into, before we go. When you come to Las Vegas, again, as I was just talking about a couple of minutes ago, plan your schedule. Please just plan your schedule and come up with stuff. Make a list. I know it may take the fun out of the vacation, but because the place is so big, and though it doesn't look big, you go out on the Las Vegas Boulevard and you look up and you think a resort is right nearby you. Well, that resort's going to take 30 minutes for you to get to. It's not that close, not that close if you're walking. And, Vegas is a walking town, at least in the Las Vegas Strip, in my opinion. So, the reality of what it comes down to, I got a question. We talked about this earlier, but I'll leave you with this one. American Music Awards here tomorrow night. We've had the Grammy Awards in the past. Could the Oscars come? As I said earlier in this thing, we've got movie studios potentially coming here, to film movies and TV shows, sound stages, and all that kind of stuff. I think we're going to see a boom in, people in the production and the creative side moving here. And they're going to need places to live, of course. And the tax incentives for the film industry are obviously going to be there if the state legislation allows it. We'll see what that encompasses. But the reality of what it comes down to is that everything else has happened here in Las Vegas except the Academy Awards, it feels like at this point. So we should get that here absolutely as well. I believe that. Focusing on it, again, as I talked about at the top, Memorial Day weekend, love pool season, the day clubs, the DJs, the music acts. There are tons of pool clubs at all the resorts on the Las Vegas Strip and beyond. Most of them are on the Las Vegas Strip, but check accordingly. There's, the Durango Resort and Casino, which is the new Station Casinos property. They're doing some fun things this summer at their pool. Take a look at that as well. But there is nothing greater than pool season when you get to go out there and have a great DJ or a great music act performing a concert when you're out at the pool. Take a look at those and look into the pool season, look at the day clubs and see what's going on. A lot of different resorts are offering some incentives like the Palms, where on certain days you can actually go to the pool for free. So look into that as well. I'm Chris Shandek for C1 Review. We're going to wrap up by, happy Memorial Day weekend again from Las Vegas. Love this time of year. Love what is going on in the entertainment capital of the world this time of year. To me, again, love every month. There's always, every week there's an event, there's a convention, there's something to look forward to in the entertainment capital of the world. But I'm going to tell you, more than anything else, if you love this time of year like me, you know why. Because there's just so many fun things. The weather is nice, the great outdoors, all that kind of great stuff. Just want to recap. We now have a playlist on our YouTube channel where you can now go and look at, and I'll put this video there, but you can look at and see all of our different Las Vegas themed videos, many of them from the last year. So go look at the playlist for Las Vegas and you'll educate yourself on many of the events and attractions and shows and things we've been to recently here in the entertainment capital world. So take a look at that, number one. And then number two, of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up with everything we have going on below. And also you'll look at and you'll see in the description our Facebook and our X account and our Instagram if you're interested in keeping up with those as well. And our website, of course, which is www.cynerview.com. This is Christianic for CY Interview. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. This is a review and thoughts of many of the latest events that are currently going on, and always my input in the entertainment capital of the world. I hope you have a great, enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.